Yeah, hi. Today we will try to discuss one more business requirement. So that is validation, validation at invoice cancellation. So basically, what happens is, if at all, if it is a delivery number, right, VL02N, and let me take any one of the delivery number. Oh, sorry, this is inbound delivery, right? So let me go for F4. Let me take any one of the outbound deliveries. Just try to remember this point. System. System issues. Okay, basically what my point is, like, delivery document can be deleted, right? Delivery document can be deleted. Here you will get an option delete. But whereas if it is an invoice document, let me go to VF02 transaction code. If it is an invoice document, you cannot delete it. Rather, you have to cancel it, right? Delivery documents can be deleted, whereas invoice documents, we cannot delete the invoice document. Rather, we can cancel the invoice document. So how to cancel it? So just get into the document, or of course even in the first screen also you can do the same thing. You can cancel the document, or just go inside of it and then click here, select. See here, you cannot find the delete option. So that is the first point that I would like to discuss with you. And the next point is, yes, the invoice document can be cancelled, right? So the moment when you try to cancel it, just so cancel billing document or invoice document, anything is fine. So this is the invoice, just save it. And what happens is this particular invoice will be cancelled. So if you really observe this particular transaction code, see VF11, but we started with VF02. See here, VF02, right? VF02, enter. Still we are in the same VF02 only. The moment when you click on canceling the invoice, you are automatically, just have been moved to this particular transaction code. So this is what the context. Now, while canceling the invoice document, of course, even you can open VF11 directly. So just go back, VF11 directly, the same thing. You have to enter the invoice document, or couple of invoice documents, or many invoice documents, and simply save them. Meaning all the invoice documents which you are entering here, those will be cancelled, right? But here in the system, like, we have some issue. That's okay. Now the point that I'm trying to convey here is, the invoice cancellation should not be done by each and every people in the production system. So this activity should be some specific. What do you mean by this? So it should not be like, okay, you directly open invoice document in production system and then directly provide the document number, invoice document number, save it. No, the cancellation of the invoice documents or billing document should be done by a specific team. If at all you are not a part of that particular specific team, and if you still try to cancel the invoice, no, you should not be allowed to cancel the invoice. That is the requirement. I hope you can understand this. So this activity should be restricted to a specific team. Only that particular team should be allowed to cancel the invoice, right? Assume the case that is invoice operations team allowed to cancel the sale. My point is, let's assume I am not the part of invoice operations team, but still if I try to cancel the invoice, I should get a message, error message, saying that, hey, you are not the part of invoice operations team and you are not allowed to cancel the invoice. If I am the part of the same team, then I should be allowed to cancel the invoice. So this is the requirement and how to achieve it. And let's try to find out the customer exit for this, right? So now we know it, right? Like, if at all we are working on customer exit, we have two parts. One is finding the exit and the other one is implementing the exit, right? So let me go to SE93. 1 second, guys. Let me enter VF11. So now display, sorry, right? So this is a package, double click on the program name as well. Go to attributes, to the same thing. Okay, VF11, right? So let me go to smod, and of course we have the other alternative as well to find the exit. So let me click on information systems. Now let me provide the package, sorry, package which we have got. So we got almost 17 exits, and of course even to find the exit we have the other way as well. That is what we have discussed yesterday, SC84. Of course picking up the package remains same, that context remains same, right? So now let me go to enhancements, customer exits, enhancements, provide your package here, and then say execute. Both are same, some or the other way, both are same, right? So of course we have the other ways also to find the exit, but yeah, at least these two are enough for you to answer in the interview. So now among all these exits, so we spent a lot of time even in the real time. So definitely you guys have to spend a lot of time to finalize the exit based on the requirement and all. So finally this is what I have chosen. So I spent a lot of time. Let's assume the case I have already worked on this requirement. I spent a lot of time on this requirement, and finally this is the exit which I have finalized. Now, so as we discussed already, before we implement the exit, first what we need to do is we have to go and check whether there is any exit, project already created for this exit or not. Whether there is any project already created for this particular exit or not. So we have to check it out and see we don't get any entries here. We did not get any entries here. So meaning this particular exit is not implemented in any of the exits. Now let's go and implement our own stuff. Invoice cancellation underscore how many total 3 F11. Yeah, I think it's fine. Let me create on it. Invoice cancellation. Let me do like this. Validation at invoice cancellation. So let me save it. Go on this one. This is the exit. Go on this one. Click on components. First, make sure the project is active. So this is what I always look at. So let me double click on this. Let me double click on this. See, now this particular exit is already available for us. Right now, before I do my logic, right? So first, let me confirm whether this particular exit is triggering when I try to cancel the invoice. So here you can keep static breakpoint. Like this is universal breakpoint, meaning so since you have not specified any username or something, so okay, let me write even this one as well. Breakpoint. What is my user ID here? 75 above 42. 75 above 42. Yeah. So what exactly the difference between this particular breakpoint and this particular breakpoint? So this particular breakpoint, it will trigger even for 43, 44, 45, whoever the user is using the system. If let's assume the case, this particular exit is triggering while canceling the invoice VF11, right? Assume the case. Now, since we kept this breakpoint, let's say I am from development team. Even the analyst people, if they try to cancel the invoice in development server, even for them also this particular breakpoint triggers, because this is universal breakpoint. While this particular include or particular exit is being triggered, since this is universal breakpoint, definitely they'll get this and they'll be worried. They don't know what to do if the debugger is started. Okay, so that is the reason you please don't go with this. Even if it is a trial, go with this only, because we don't want others to get panic. So this particular breakpoint, it will trigger only for this user. So let's say if 43 tries to cancel the invoice, of course this particular exit triggers, but this particular breakpoint will not trigger for him, because this particular breakpoint is exclusively for user 42, 75 by 42. Now let me go and so VF11, I entered an invoice document number. Let me click on save. You see, my breakpoint is triggering. My breakpoint is triggering. Now I've concluded that this particular exit is being triggered. This particular exit is being triggered, and now we can happily write the logic, whatever we wanted to write. Exit, perfect. So of course, it is not allowing us to cancel the invoice due to some data issues and all, but you don't need to worry. Like, however, we got that issue, right? I mean, we got that triggered, right? No need to worry. So now, so if you name, let's assume the case 75 ABAP 42. Assume the case I am from development team. I am from development team. I'm just trying to convey you the context here. I am from development team, and 43 and 44, meaning 43 and 44. These two are functional team, and of course they are the part of invoice operations team. Invoice operations team. So only these two IDs are maintained in the invoice operations team, meaning only these two people should be allowed, are allowed to cancel the invoice. Except these two, if someone tries to cancel the invoice, you are not the part of invoice operations team. Yes, it's error message, but I just want to display it like type. Assume this case, and of course we are getting this breakpoint, and of course we don't need this code actually. And guys, please make a note that. So while you are moving this particular code to quality or production to other systems for testing and for deployment and all, make sure you should not have any breakpoints as such. All the breakpoints, all the static breakpoints. When I say static, the breakpoint which you write. So these static breakpoints should be removed. So even should not, I mean, even the code, the commented code also should not be there in the code. Even the code which is commented also should not be there. Right? So now my point is only these guys are allowed to cancel the invoice. Now, what is my ID? My ID is 42. Now I'll come here. My SIU name, while executing this, SIU name will be with my name. My name not equal to this one, and my name not equal to this one also. I'll definitely get this message. Right? You get the point? I think here we should have R. Should have R. Okay, I'll try to explain. So let's say user 42, meaning me. I am trying to cancel the invoice via VF11. Now I'll come to this point. So my name not equal to this. Okay, or it's not equal to this. Since one is true, I'll definitely come to this. Right? Now let's assume this guy has come into picture. This guy has come into picture. So this is equal to fail. For him, it is true. And if anyone is fine, right, then I think it works fine. Right? Of course, we are not going and depending on this particular logic now. So this is the case. Now, so assume the case. Guys, wait a minute. Yeah, sorry, I went to have water. Right. So now, yeah, assume the case. Let me run the show. Guys, wait a minute. Otherwise, let's write the logic like this way. Is equal to this one. Write the logic this way. I think this is fine. See? So meaning, as we discussed already, this guy and this guy are the part of invoice operations team. Only these two people are allowed to cancel the invoice. Assume the case if this guy has come into picture, like if this guy tries to cancel the invoice, since this is true, it won't go for else. It won't go for else. Since we have written or condition, when this will trigger, if the first two conditions are failed. If the first two conditions are failed, or if the first two conditions are passed. Of course, it will not be the case, right? So now, if this guy tries to cancel the invoice, so this is true. Since this is true, and it will come here, this particular message will not trigger. And if this guy tries to cancel the invoice, this is false, however, but this is true. This is true, right? He'll be allowed to cancel the invoice. But let's say now I try to cancel the invoice. This is false. This is false. Both of them are false. So I'll come to this. So this is what I wanted to convey here. So now let me try to cancel the invoice. So let me reload the transaction code. VF11, save it. See, you are not the part of Invoiceware team. So you cannot do anything here. You have to go back. Right. But how long you will go on change on, I mean, you will keep on changing the names. So assume the case, if this guy, this highlighted guy resigned the company, he just moved to other project or other company or whatever. He left the organization and some other people have joined the team. Then you have to come to the same exit again and you have to add their names if they are part of invoice operations team. So how long will you do this? So that's not the case that we have to go for, right? So what we have proposed the client was, so just create a table. Just create a table and maintain the table. I mean, maintain the user IDs who are the part of invoice operations team. OK, now S11 G SD invoice underscore operations. Let me create the table. Invoice operations allowed, and of course we know the first field is always mandate. We'll come and discuss this. So name, this is also key field. Say you name, that's it. Now both the fields are key fields, meaning combination of these two should not be having any duplicate record. So we will discuss that in detail when the time comes. What is data class and what is size category? What happens if the all these things we'll definitely discuss when the time comes. Now my table is activated. This is so simple. So we have activated the table and now let me go and create the entries as well. So let me go and create the entries. Of course, it is 800. First user is what? 75 or 42. 75. ABAP. Control C. Save it. Reset. 44. Save it. Reset. 45. Save. That's it. Go back. So in this particular table, they have maintained 3 user IDs. 3 user IDs like 43 and 44 and 45. These 3 people are allowed to cancel the invoice. Rest, if someone tries, rest anyone, if they try to cancel the invoice, they should get this message. Now we have changed the code in such a way that, okay, let me little comment on this code. Select single name. Select single name from what is the table? This is the table. This is what we have proposed to the client. Of course, let me complete this. I can talk in detail. So select single name from this one into LV underscore name. Let me define this. LV underscore name type, say hyphen uname name where name is equal to say hyphen your name. If say hyphen sub RC is not equal to 0, then simply keep this message. You are not the part of invoice operations team. Cancel to cancel. That's it. To cancel the invoice, of course, but yeah, this is fine, no problem. Now let's try to understand the code which we wrote now. What did we do? Now this particular username will be having the value of the guy who tries to cancel the invoice. Okay, let me go here. And let me run the transaction code. Let's see /n VF11 or VF02, what is fine. So I just kept my breakpoint here. So now what we are trying to do is, so this particular name field will store the current executor's name. I mean current executor's ID. So 75 ABAP 42. This is my ID. So if your ID is there in this table, then your size RC will be 0. Meaning if your ID is there in the table, yes, you are allowed. But if size RC is failed, since your ID is not maintained in the table, just go and see here. Since your ID is not maintained in the table, 42 is not here, 43, 44, 45. Since your ID is not there in the table, so you will get this message saying like, hey, you are not part of to cancel. Of course, you are not the part of invoice operations team to cancel the invoice. You will get this message, and of course, it is the error message, but we are displaying it like information one, right? Just continue, and until you go back, you can't do anything here. So this is what the proposal that we gave to the client. I hope this particular requirement is so clear to you guys, right? So then what happened in real time? So it is not like, okay, we will create the table like this, and then we will, we will move this particular table also to the production system. No. So you have to give a provision to the client that, so he should be in a position to maintain the entries in the table. Right. If you do like this, happily, the moment it is moved to production system, they'll maintain the entries however they need. Right. So it's simple, like even you can create the TMG also for them, create TMG and all. Make sure you no need to touch the code now. Make sure the entries are properly maintained in the table. That's it. If the entries are properly maintained in the table, the code works. Right. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.